قصار الصور أليس كذلك؟
نعم.
We're live. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, and may the best, most excellent and complete prayers and salutations be showered upon our Prophet Muhammad and upon his family and companions. To proceed, we're really happy to welcome you to the second lesson of the explanation of important lessons for the Muslim masses. The book authored by the Shaykh Aziz ibn Abdullah ibn Baz and explained by our Shaykh Muhammad al-Khayyat from Saudi Arabia. May Allah the Most High preserve him. And today's lesson is our second lesson, as I said, and we're looking at the short chapters of the Quran, explanation of the short chapters, the chapters at the back of the Quran, at the back of the Mus'haf. So without further ado, I'll pass over to our Shaykh Muhammad. فليتفضلوا مشكورا شيخنا الله يبارك فيكم وصلى الله عز وجل أن يفتح لكم.
آمين جزاك الله خير. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد.
In the name of Allah, may peace and blessings be showered upon the Prophet Muhammad. Proceed.
نكمل بإذن الله تفسير قصار السور.
Today we'll finish the explanation of the short chapters of the Quran.
وصلنا إلى سورة تبت أو سورة
نعم. And we reached the chapter, the palm fiber.
قال تعالى تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب، يعني خسرت يدا أبي لهب وتب. هذا دعاء من الله على أبي لهب.
Allah the Most High says that, which means perish the two hands of Abu Lahab, and may he perish, and perish he. So this is a supplication that Allah the Most High made against Abu Lahab.
وأبو لهب هذا عم النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام، أخو أبوه.
And this is the paternal uncle of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, his father's brother.
وسمي أو لقب بأبي لهب لأنه وجهه كان أبيضا مضيئا.
And he was given this moniker, this name, Abu Lahab, the father of شيخنا اللهب يعني كأنه النار أليس كذلك؟
النار والشعلة نعم.
أثابكم الله. So the father of the fire or the brightness, and this was due to his face radiating.
لكنه سود وجهه بالكفر والطغيان.
But despite this face, this radiant face, he darkened it with disbelief and transgression.
وكان من أشد الناس عداوة للنبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And he was from the greatest people in their enmity against the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him.
هو وزوجته جميل.
Him and his wife, Jamil.
جميل اسمها أروى.
And Jamil's name was Arwa.
أروى بنت حرب، أبوها اسمه حرب.
Arwa, the daughter of Harb.
وكان يتنقص من دين النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ويسخر منه كثيرا.
And they used to poke fun and diminish and demean the Prophet and his religion, peace and blessings be upon him.
وسبب نزول هذه السورة.
And the reason behind the revelation of this chapter of the Quran
أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم
was that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him,
صعد على جبل الصفا، جبل في مكة اسمه الصفا.
He climbed to the top of the Mount Safa. There's a mountain in Mecca called Safa.
فقال يا صباحاه، وهذه كلمة عند العرب معروفة إذا أراد أن ينادي الشخص الآخرين ينادي يا صباحاه في الصباح فيجتمعون إليه.
And he called out to the people, and he used a calling out that was prevalent amongst the Arabs to get the attention of the people.
فاجتمعت إليه قبيلة قريش.
So the tribe of Quraysh, they gathered around him when he did this.
قالوا له ما لك يا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And they said, what's wrong with you? What's up, O Muhammad? Peace and blessings be upon him.
فقال أرأيتم لو أخبرتكم.
So he said, do you see if I were to tell you
أن العدو يصبحكم أو يمسيكم، يعني عدوكم يأتي في الصباح أو في المساء ليقتلكم أنتم وأزواجكم وذرياتكم.
Do you see, if I were to tell you that the enemy were approaching in the morning and the night, i.e., they were gathering their might and they were just about to attack you, do you see if I were to tell you this?
أما كنتم تصدقوني؟
Would you not believe me?
قالوا بلى.
They said, yes, but of course, but of course.
لأنهم لم يعهدوا عليه كذبا عليه الصلاة والسلام.
Because they didn't know him to be someone who lied. May peace and blessings be upon him.
فقال لهم فإني نذير لكم.
So he said, then indeed know that I'm a warner to you.
بين يدي عذاب شديد.
In front of a great torment, a great punishment that comes to you.
أي أؤمنوا بالله وبما جئت به وإلا فإنكم ستقعون في عذاب شديد من عند الله سبحانه وتعالى.
I believe in Allah and accept this message, otherwise you will fall foul of a great torment.
فقال له أبو لهب.
So Abu Lahab, he said to him,
تبا لك أي خسارة لك ألهذا جمعتنا.
He said, and he kept on saying, woe unto you, may you be perished. Did you bring us here just for this?
يعني أنه كذب النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام ولم يصدقه.
I.e., he didn't believe, he disbelieved in the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him.
فعامله الله بما يستحق قائلا تعالى تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب. يعني الخسار لك يا أبا لهب وليس لمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
So Allah the Most High, he dealt with him in a manner that was befitting that he should be dealt with. And he said, rather, woe is unto you, Abu Lahab.
فقال تعالى بعدها ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب أي الأموال التي جمعها والأولاد والتجارة وغير ذلك كل ذلك لا يغني عنه من الله شيئا ومن عذاب الله شيئا.
And he said, indeed, may you be perished and may your wealth, all this wealth that you seek to support you, may it all be perished too.
ثم قال تعالى سيصلى نارا ذات لهب توعده بأن الله سيميته على الكفر ويدخله جهنم.
And then in the third verse, Allah the Most High said, and he gave him a promise, indeed he will be burnt in a fire of blazing flames. And this was the promise from Allah that he would perish and he would die and expire upon disbelief in Allah the Most High.
وامرأته أي أن كذلك امرأته ستموت على الكفر وستعذب.
And also this promise was given to his wife that she would perish upon disbelief and that she would be punished.
وهذه السورة من علامات نبوة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. كيف ذلك؟
And this chapter is a sign from the signs of the truthfulness of the prophethood of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. How is this?
لأن السورة نزلت في حياة أبي لهب وامرأته.
This is because it was revealed in the lifetime of Abu Lahab and his wife. They were still alive at this time.
وفيها خبر أنهما لا يسلمان ويموتان على الكفر والمعاداة لدين الإسلام.
And within the chapter, it states that they will die upon disbelief and they will not embrace al-Islam.
وكان كذلك أنهما ماتا على الكفر ولم يسلما فكان من دلالة صدق النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And it was as Allah the Most High said that they both perished and they died upon other than Islam, and then they went towards their promised destination.
ووصف الله سبحانه وتعالى امرأة أبي لهب قائلا.
And Allah the Most High described the wife of Abu Lahab, where he said,
وامرأته حمالة الحطب أي أنها كانت تحمل الحطب والأذى والشوك وتضعه في طريق النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And Allah the Most High, he described her as being the carrier of wood, i.e., the materials by which she would slander the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him.
مبالغة في إيذاء النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
And this was her going overboard as relates to harming the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him.
ثم وصف حالها النبي الله سبحانه وتعالى بقوله
And then Allah the Most High described her state in His statement.
في جيدها أي في عنقها حبل من مسد أي حبل من حديد مطوق على عنقها ورقبتها في جهنم والعياذ بالله.
That around her neck is a twisted rope. يا شيخنا الحبل من حديد.
هو حبل يقال أنه من ليف ويشتعل نارا، وقيل أنه طوق من حديد يطوق بها يعني إيش جيدها وعنقها.
أثابكم Allah. So it's been explained in two ways. The first, that it is a rope of palm fiber, which is the common translation in the Noble Quran. There is another interpretation that it's a rope of iron. And this iron is used to punish her.
والسورة التي بعدها بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح وتسمى سورة النصر.
And then after this is the chapter of the victory of the Prophet, the victory, Surah Al-Nasr, the help.
وقال تعالى إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح فيها بشارة للنبي عليه الصلاة والسلام بأنه سينصر دينه ونبيه محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And the first verse in this chapter, chapter 110, is when there comes the help of Allah to you, O Muhammad, and the conquest of Mecca. And this is an indication that the lifespan and the victory for the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, would be near.
ولا شك أن الله نصر دينه ونبيه محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And there is no doubt that that Allah the Most High helped and aided his Prophet.
وتخيل أن هذا الدين بدأ برجل واحد هو محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And to think that this religion, it began from one individual, Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him.
ثم رجل وامرأة أسلمت خديجة زوجته رضي الله عنها.
And then a man and a woman, whereby Khadija, his wife, embraced al-Islam.
ثم أسلم أبو بكر الصديق رضي الله عنه فكانوا ثلاثة رجلان وامرأة.
Then Abu Bakr, the truthful one, as Siddiq, he embraced al-Islam. So then the Muslims became the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, his wife, and Abu Bakr.
وأول من أسلم من الصبيان علي بن أبي طالب رضي الله عنه.
And the first of the children who became Muslim and embraced Islam was Ali ibn Abi Talib.
ثم استمر هكذا يدخل الناس في دين الله رجلا بعد رجل وامرأة بعد امرأة.
May Allah be pleased with him. And then the religion kept growing like this, each individual after each individual, until the religion started to grow. أي نعم شيخنا.
اي نعم. وتخيل النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام حجة الوداع ومعه عشرة آلاف صحابي رضي الله عنهم وارضاهم.
And to think that when the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he made the farewell Hajj, he made the farewell pilgrimage that was right at the end of his lifespan, and there were tens of thousands of companions with him.
والآن عدد المسلمون تقريبا أكثر من 2 مليار مسلم.
And now the number of Muslims is more than 2 billion.
وهكذا يزداد يوما بعد يوم.
And likewise it increases day by day.
قال تعالى إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح. المقصود بالفتح هنا فتح مكة، لأن مكة فتحت كانت في أيدي المشركين ففتحها النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
So Allah the Most High says, when there comes the help of Allah to you and the conquest, meaning the conquest of Makkah. As Makkah,
يعني بعد إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا، أي إذا رأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله وفعلا دخلوا في دين الله أفواجا وجماعات وبالألوف حتى أصبحوا في عهده 10,000 صحابي.
And then the second verse, and you see the people enter Allah's religion in crowds, i.e., as we've described, we see people enter the faith of Al-Islam and embrace
فسبح
Al-Islam.
فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره، أي أكثر من التسبيح والاستغفار إذا رأيت الناس قد دخلوا في دين الله أفواجا.
So when you see this, glorify the praises of your Lord abundantly and ask for his forgiveness abundantly.
ثم قال تعالى إنه كان توابا، أي أن الله سبحانه وتعالى يغفر لمن تاب إليه.
And then Allah the Most High closes by saying, indeed, he is the one who accepts the repentance and who forgives.
وقيل فيها إشارة إلى أجل النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام، أنه إذا رأيت الناس قد دخلوا في دين الله أفواجا وفتحت مكة فإنك ستموت قريبا.
And this was an indication that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he would expire soon. When you'd see these things, then your lifespan is coming up.
وبما أنك ستموت قريبا فأكثر من التسبيح والاستغفار والحمد لله سبحانه وتعالى بما نصرك وفتح عليك مكة.
So when Allah the Most High, he sees this, or he shows this to you, and he enables you to have these victories, then glorify him and seek his forgiveness.
فكان عليه الصلاة والسلام بعد فتح مكة يكثر من قوله تعالى سبحانك اللهم ربنا وبحمدك اللهم اغفر لي.
So for this reason, after the conquest of Mecca, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he would enact this commandment. And in his prayer, he would say, glory, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, glory be unto you, and all praises be unto you, and I seek forgiveness from you.
والسورة التي بعدها بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تسمى سورة الكافرون.
And the chapter that comes after it is named the chapter The Disbelievers.
وتسمى سورة البراءة من الشرك والمشركين.
And it's also named the chapter of the distancing against or distancing from polytheism.
لما عجز المشركين عجزوا يعني ورأوا دين الله ينتشر جاءوا يفاوضون النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
So when the disbelievers, they saw themselves that they could not stop or repel the spread of al-Islam, they came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him.
قالوا يا محمد ما رأيك أن تعبد آلهتنا سنة ونحن نعبد إلهك سنة نعبد إلهك وسنة تعبد آلهتنا ما رأيك؟
So they came with a kind of truce, and they said, oh Muhammad, how about this? How about you worship our Lord for a year and we worship yours for a year? And in this way we have a kind of truce.
فأنزل الله سبحانه وتعالى.
So Allah the Most High revealed.
هذه السورة يقول له قل يا محمد للكافرين.
He revealed this chapter and he said, say, O Muhammad, to these polytheists and disbelievers.
لا أعبد ما تعبدون أي من الآلهة والأصنام.
I do not worship that which you worship, i.e. the idols and the other gods alongside Allah the Most High.
ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد أي أنهم لا تعبدون الله سبحانه وتعالى.
Nor will you worship that which I worship, i.e. you will not worship Allah the Most High as you claim you will.
ثم أكد مرة أخرى ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم أنا لا أعبد ما تعبدون من هذه الأصنام التي تصنعونها بأيديكم.
And then Allah the Most High emphasized this once again, and he said, nor will you worship that which I worship.
وكان أحدهم يصنع إلهه وصنمه من التمر فإذا جاع أكل جزءا منه يد الصنم أو رجل الصنم أو رأس الصنم وهكذا.
And one of them would construct their idol that they would worship from dates. So every time that they passed and they were hungry, they would eat a bit of the idol. They would eat, his hand or his leg or something. So they would actually eat their god.
ثم تبرأ منهم قائلا لكم دينكم ولي دين هذه براءة من دين الكفار.
And then he declared himself free of polytheism and mixing the faith of al-Islam with disbelief, and said, to you be your religion, and to me my religion. And this is the declaring oneself free.
وبراءة من الأصنام والأوثان التي يعبدونها.
And it's also a declaration of separation between the individual and idols and such things.
ولي دين أي ديني لي الذي أعبده وهو التوحيد وعبادة الله وإخلاص الدين له جل في علاه.
And to me is my religion, and my religion is worshipping of Allah alone.
وهذه تسمى أيضا بسورة الإخلاص الثانية. سورة الإخلاص الأولى قل هو الله أحد، وهذه كذلك تسمى أيضا سورة الإخلاص.
And this is also sometimes called the chapter of sincerity, the second chapter of sincerity, the first being the one that we explained last week.
وهاتان السورتان الكافرون والإخلاص.
And these two chapters, the first sincerity and the disbelievers,
فيهما توحيد خالص.
within them both is pure tawheed, pure monotheism.
لذلك تقرآن في ركعتا الصبح النافلة التي قبل الفريضة.
For this reason, they are both recited in the two sunnah prayers, the two prayers before Salat al-Fajr. They're recited in those two units.
القرآن في الركعتين اللتان بعد ركعتا الطواف.
Also, the two prayers behind, or the two units after circumvention of the Kaaba.
وكذلك في صلاة الشفع والوتر والتراويح في رمضان.
And also the odd and even prayers in Ramadan.
ويشرع للمرء أن يقرأ قبل النوم سورة الإخلاص والمعوذتين 3 مرات، وكذلك أن يقرأ سورة الكافرون، لأنه إن مات على ذلك مات وهو بريء من الشرك بإذن الله.
And it's also legislated for the individual to read this and the chapter of sincerity, because whoever recites them and dies, then they would die upon sincerity to Allah the Most High.
والسورة التي بعدها بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سورة الكوثر.
The chapter that comes after this is the chapter of Al-Kawthar, which is a river in paradise.
والكوثر كما قلت هو river in paradise، هو نهر في الجنة.
And this is a river in paradise.
وقيل الكوثر هو الشيء الكثير.
الشيء الكثير شيخنا أو الخير الكثير؟
الخير الكثير، نعم، والعظيم.
أثابكم الله. And it's also been said that the Kawthar, the meaning of it is abundant goodness.
فقال الله سبحانه وتعالى إنا أعطيناك الكوثر. إنا بلفظ التعظيم، لفظ الجمع الذي يدل على التعظيم. لم يقل أنا أعطيتك الكوثر، قال إنا. هذا لفظ المعظم لنفسه سبحانه وتعالى.
So here Allah the Most High, He opens the chapter with the statement verily, and it's a very that's connected to a we, and this we is a we that gives magnanimity. So it gives a sense of grandeur to this chapter. Indeed, we have granted you, not just I have given you or I've revealed, rather we have granted you.
وهذا الكوثر نهر في الجنة يصب في الحوض المورود. هذا الحوض يعني موضع في عرصات يوم القيامة.
And this river in paradise, it fills and it flows into the pool that has been reported upon in the hereafter, that the believers will drink from. May Allah make us from those.
وهذا الحوض عرضه شهر وطوله شهر، يعني مساحته مسيرة شهر طولا ومسيرة شهر عرضا.
And the breadth and length of this pool is a month's journey. So it's a vast pool.
وأكوابه عدد نجوم السماء.
And the number of drinking vessels that it will take is the number of stars in the sky.
ماؤه أبيض من اللبن.
And its water is brighter than milk. It's
وأحلى من العسل وأبيض من الثلج.
sweeter, and it's sweeter than honey, and it's whiter than snow.
من شرب منه شربة واحدة لم يظمأ بعدها أبد الآبدين.
Subhanallah. Whoever even takes one sip from it, they will never ever become thirsty again.
ثم قال تعالى يعني فصل لربك، أي شكرا لله على منه وفضله وعظيم عطائه لك.
And then Allah the Most High says, therefore turn in prayer to your Lord, i.e. turn in prayer to your Lord as a means of thanking him for having given you and blessed upon you such a blessing.
وانحر أي انحر ذبيحتك لربك مخلصا، لأن الذبح لا يجوز إلا لله سبحانه وتعالى.
And sacrifice, i.e. sacrifice to him as sacrificing the animal, because the intent behind this is to sacrifice the animal. This is something done solely for the sake of Allah the Most High.
كما قال تعالى قل إن صلاتي ونسكي، يعني ذبحي.
As Allah the Most High said that, which means, say, indeed my prayer and my sacrifice,
ومحياي ومماتي
and my living and my dying
لله رب العالمين
are all for Allah, Lord of all creation.
لا شريك له.
There is no partner I ascribe in any of these.
فلا يجوز الذبح للجن مثلا.
So therefore, it's not permissible to perform sacrifice for the jinn, for example,
ولا للشياطين
nor the shayateen, nor the devils,
ولا للأصنام،
nor to idols.
ولكن الذبح يكون خالصا لله سبحانه وتعالى.
However, the slaughtering must be sincerely for the sake of Allah, the Most High.
ثم قال تعالى إن شانئك أي إن عدوك ومبغضك يا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And then Allah then goes on to say, for he who hates you, i.e. the one who reviles you,
هو الأبتر أي الأقطع مقطوع من كل خير.
they are the one, or he is the one who will be cut off.
ومقطوع كذلك من الذكر الحسن.
I cut off from prosperity, and also cut off from being remembered in a good way.
فلا يذكر إلا بالشر والسوء.
So they will not be mentioned except in evil or in a bad way.
كأبي لهب وأبي جهل ونحوهم.
This is like Abu Lahab and Abu Jahl and the likes of them.
وأم جميل كذلك زوجة أبي لهب.
Jamil as well, the wife of Abu Lahab.
فلا يذكرون إلا بالسوء.
Because these are individuals that are not mentioned except in a bad way.
بخلاف النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام لا يذكر إلا بالخير.
In conflict to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, who is only mentioned in goodness.
وإذا ذكرناه صلينا عليه ودعونا قلنا صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم.
And if we mention him, we make dua for him, and we send peace and salutations from Allah the Most High upon him.
السورة التي بعدها بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تسمى سورة الماعون.
The chapter that comes after it, in the name of Allah, the Most Gracious and Most Merciful, is called the chapter, The Small Kindness.
والماعون هو القدر أو الفأس أو الإناء الذي يستعار أو المنخل أو الإبرة، أي شيء يستعار ثم يرد كما الجيران يستعيرون من بعضهم بعضا.
And the ma'un, this thing in and of itself, it's a small pot or the container, maybe in modern language, the container that you would lend to one another. Neighbors would lend to one another. Pots for food, etc.
قال تعالى أرأيت أيها النبي، والاستفهام هنا للتعجب.
And here Allah the Most High asks and says, "Have you seen, O Prophet Muhammad?" And here the question is to show a kind of an astonishment, and not an astonishment that it's a surprising thing, but it's an astonishment kind of at the audacity of something.
أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين أي يكذب بيوم القيامة والجزاء والبعث والوقوف بين يدي الله سبحانه وتعالى.
Have you seen the one who denies the day of recompense and the standing in front of Allah the Most High?
ويكذب بدين الإسلام وشرعه.
And belies the religion of Islam and its legislation.
فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم من ثمرات ذلك التكذيب أن هذه حالة من يدع اليتيم أي يزجر اليتيم وينهره.
From the fruits of such an individual is the next verse where Allah the Most High explains, that is he, i.e. the one who denies the recompense, that is he who repulses the orphan harshly.
واليتيم من الناس هو الذي مات أبوه لأن أباه هو الذي ينفق عليه ويؤمن له احتياجاته.
And the yatim, the orphan, is the one whose father passes away in infancy.
واليتيم من الحيوانات هو التي ماتت أمه لأنها هي التي ترعاه وتؤمن له طعامه وقوته.
As for in the animal kingdom and with animals, then the orphan is the one whose mother passes away, because it's the mother who feeds them and looks after them.
ثم بين الله سبحانه وتعالى كذلك من حال قال ولا يحض على طعام المسكين أي ولا يحث نفسه ولا يحث غيره على إطعام المسكين والفقير الذي يحتاج إلى الطعام والشراب.
And then on top of this, they do not urge and encourage the feeding of the poor.
ثم قال تعالى متوعدا فويل للمصلين.
And then Allah the Most High, He says, giving a promise of recompense. So woe unto those performers of the prayer.
الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين يتساهلون في أداء الصلوات ولا يؤدونها في الوقت المحدد.
Those who delay their prayer times from their stated times.
ولا يؤدون أركانها وواجباتها وربما أدوها سريعة ينقرونها كنقر الغراب.
And they do not establish it properly. They do not perform the acts of it properly, but they rush through it.
ولا يخشعون فيها ولا يتأملون ما يقرأ فيها من الآيات والأذكار.
And they have no sense of humility to Allah the Most High while carrying it out. They just rush through it. There's no feeling or soul behind it.
وفرق بين السهو في الصلاة والسهو عن الصلاة.
And there's a difference between being negligent or unmindful. In Arabic, it's almost like during the salah, and there's a unmindfulness about the salah.
السهو في الصلاة كلنا يسهى وينسى الإنسان ينسى ركعة ينسى تسبيحة يسرح قليلا لا بأس في ذلك. أما السهو عن الصلاة هو التساهل عن أدائها في أوقاتها.
As for being negligent in the prayer, then this is, for example, and this is something that happens to all of us. You forget, whether you've recited something or you forget which unit of prayer you're on.
فبعض الناس الساهون عن الصلاة لا يؤدي صلاة الفجر إلا بعد طلوع الشمس. هذا سهى عن الصلاة.
And also being lax about the prayer is not performing the prayer in its specific time, like those who may be lax about the dawn prayer, the Fajr prayer.
كذلك مثلا لا يؤدي صلاة العصر حتى يؤذن للمغرب، خرج وقت صلاة العصر بأذان المغرب.
And also those who are negligent as relates to the Asr prayer, praying it only when the call to prayer for Maghrib has been made.
فهؤلاء متوعدون بعذاب عظيم، وقيل إن ويل هو واد في جهنم.
So these have been promised a great punishment, and it's been said that this woe, this word woe, it actually refers to a valley in the hellfire.
توعد الله سبحانه وتعالى من يؤخر الصلاة عن وقتها بأن يعذبه في ذلك الوادي والعياذ بالله.
Allah has promised to punish those who delay their prayers beyond the prescribed time, to punish them in these valleys or this valley.
ثم قال تعالى: الذين هم يراءون، أي يراءون بأعمالهم وصلاتهم الناس ولا يريدون بذلك وجه الله.
And then Allah the Most High explains these people, those who do good deeds only to be seen of people, only to be seen that they do the good deeds.
كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام:
As the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said,
يقوم الرجل يصلي
that indeed an individual will stand and pray,
فيزين صلاته لما يرى من نظر رجل.
and they'll beautify their prayer due to the fact that they feel someone is watching them.
هو لو أنه دخل في الصلاة وأراد أن يطيلها ثم دخل إنسان ونظر إليه لا بأس.
But if the individual has the intention of beautifying their prayer, and then someone else comes in and sees them, then they can continue. There's no issue in this. There's no problem.
لكنه لو دخل ليصلي ركعتين خفيفتين ثم دخل رجل بعده المسجد ورآه يصلي أطال الصلاة حتى يقول ذلك الرجل إن فلانا يخشع ويصلي صلاة طويلة خاشعة، هذا الذي عليه الخوف من الوعيد.
As for the one who is under this punishment, it's the one who comes to the prayer, or more accurately, comes to the masjid, and they want to perform 2 units of prayer quickly. But then someone else comes into the masjid, and they feel the presence of that other person. So instead of the 2 quick units of prayer that they pray, they slow down and they elongate the prayer, in order for the individual who's come in to notice their prayer, how well they do it.
ثم توعدهم الله سبحانه وتعالى ووصفهم بأنهم من شدة بخلهم يمنعون الماعون، وهو ما يعار لوقت محدد لينتفع به.
And then Allah the Most High, He emphasizes their miserliness by saying there are those who withhold small acts of kindness, i.e. small things to give to others.
نعم، تسمعني؟
أي نعم شيخنا، أثابكم الله.
السورة التي بعدها تسمى سورة قريش.
The chapter that then comes after that is known as the chapter of the Quraysh, the tribe.
وهي قبيلة معروفة في مكة.
A well-known tribe in Mecca.
والنبي عليه الصلاة والسلام من قريش.
And the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was from this tribe, Quraysh.
قال تعالى: لإيلاف قريش، يعني كأن قريشا ألفت أن تسافر لها رحلتان، رحلة في الشتاء ورحلة في الصيف.
Allah the Most High says, it is a great grace from the protection of Quraysh, and it was known that they would travel 2 points. They would travel in the winter and in the summer.
أنعم الله عليهم بتلك الرحلتين.
Allah the Most High blessed them with these 2 journeys.
يسافرون في الشتاء إلى اليمن.
In winter, they would travel to Yemen.
وفي الصيف إلى الشام.
And in summer, to the area of Lebanon.
فيأتون بالبضاعة والأقمشة والطعام والفواكه.
So they would come back with all of these things. They would come back from things from their travels, like clothes and food, etc.
وهم في نعمة ورخاء وأمن.
And they were in a time of peace and prosperity.
تذهب الرحلتان في الصيف والشتاء وتعود وهي آمنة، وهذه نعمة تستوجب الشكر.
The two delegations would go, one in the winter and one in the summer. They would go and they would return peacefully. And this is from the blessings that they had bestowed upon them.
فطالبهم الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يؤدوا شكر هذه النعمة بأن يعبدوا رب هذا البيت ولا يشركوا معه أحدا.
So, keeping in mind that there was this this blessing, let them worship Allah the Most High alone, the Lord of the house.
ثم بين الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف، فهو أطعمهم من بعد أن كانوا جياعا وآمنهم من خوف من بعد أن كانوا يعني يخافون على أنفسهم وعلى أزواجهم وذرياتهم.
And then he mentioned he, meaning Allah, who has fed them against hunger and he has made them safe from fear.
وقال تعالى: أو إذ تأذن ربكم لئن شكرتم لأزيدنكم.
And Allah the Most High said, and indeed call amongst the people that if you give thanks, that I will increase you.
وقال تعالى في آية أخرى: أولم يروا أنا جعلنا حرما آمنا.
And Allah the Most High said in another verse, have you not seen that we have made the haram a sanctuary, i.e. we've made it peaceful.
ويتخطف الناس من حولهم.
بمعنى شيخنا؟
ويتخطف الناس من حولهم أي الناس في حرب من حول الجزيرة العربية مكة والمدينة وأرض الحجاز. نحن في نعمة إلى الآن نعيشها، في نعمة وأمن وأمان، والناس من حولنا في حروب وقتل وعدم الأمن.
So this was the case while all the people around that area were in turmoil and fighting. Those people in that area were in peace.
وقال تعالى أيضا في آية أخرى.
And Allah the Most High said in another verse,
أولم نمكن لهم حرما آمنا يجبى إليه ثمرات كل شيء. يعني أولم الله سبحانه وتعالى يقول لقد مكنت لهذه الأرض، أرض الحجاز وكذا مكة والمدينة، كل ثمرات وفواكه وخضروات الدنيا وصناعات الدنيا ترد إلينا ولله الحمد.
And indeed I have made all sorts of wonders and blessings come back to this area, i.e. the area of Makkah and the Arabian Peninsula.
العنب مثلا يأتينا بستة سبعة أنواع من العنب، أصفر وأحمر وأسود.
So there are maybe 6 or 7 types of grapes, for example. There are black and white,
وكذلك
etc.
البرتقال 4-5 أصناف.
Maybe 5 types of oranges.
وكذلك التفاح يأتينا من كل بقاع الأرض.
And from all corners of the earth, apples.
وكذلك الملابس والشامبو والتونة والمكرونة وكل شيء بفضل الله عز وجل.
And everything, tuna, pasta, all of these things come by the virtue of Allah. And this is a desert, remember, this is my speech.
فلا بد أن نحمد الله ونشكره على ما أنعم علينا.
So we must praise Allah the Most High and give Him thanks for the blessings He bestows upon us.
السورة التي بعدها قال الله سبحانه وتعالى بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وتسمى سورة الفيل.
The chapter that comes after that, Allah the Most High says in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, and it is the chapter of the elephant.
قال تعالى ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل، أي ألم تعلم أيها النبي كيف فعل ربك بأبرهة. هذا أبرهة رجل من الحبشة جاء ليهدم الكعبة.
And here Allah the Most High asks, have you not have you not seen, O Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, how your Lord dealt with the companions of the elephant? And this was the elephant army that came under the commandment of Abraha from Yemen, with the intention to destroy the Kaaba.
أحسنت، جزاك الله خير. جاء من اليمن ليهدم الكعبة ومعه فيل، والفيل اسمه محمود.
أثابكم الله. عفوا شيخنا قد دخلت عليكم. معذرة
لا
شيخنا.
أبدا، أحسنت بارك الله فيك.
And he came, and one of his elephants was a great elephant called Mahmud.
ثم قال تعالى: ألم يجعل كيدهم أي مكرهم وتخطيطهم في تضليل أي في ضياع.
And then Allah the Most High said, did he, meaning Allah, did he not make their plot go astray?
فلما جاءوا ومعهم الفيل عندما وصلوا إلى قرب مكة رفض الفيل أن يتوجه إلى الكعبة.
So when the army approached Mecca and they were approaching the area, they stopped and they would not get close to the Kaaba.
فإذا وجهوه إلى اليمن مشى، إذا وجهوه إلى الشرق مشى، أما إلى جهة الكعبة لا يمشي أبدا ناحية الشمال.
If they marched the elephants back to Yemen, the elephants would move, they would go. If they marched them to any other direction, they would go. But if they orientated them towards the Kaaba and tried to march them in that direction, they would not go.
قال تعالى: وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل، أي أرسل الله عليهم هؤلاء الذين جاءوا يهدموا بيت الله جماعات من الطير متتابعة. أبابيل يعني متتابعة.
And Allah the Most High sent against them birds in flocks, i.e. flocks after flocks.
وهذه الطير كان كل طائر يحمل 3 حجارة، حجر في منقاره وحجران في يديه.
So each of these birds, they would carry 3 small rocks, 1 in the beak and then 2 in each of their talons.
فجاءت إلى أبرهة وجنوده فألقت هذه الطيور الحجارة وهي محمية من طين صلب حار.
So the birds flew over the army of Abraha and they released these missiles of small baked clay stones.
فما وقع الحجر على شخص منهم إلا مات في مكانه.
And these baked clay stones didn't hit any individual from the army except they died on the spot.
وقيل
Tom, can you hear?
يعني يدخل.
عفوا شيخنا قد انقطع الصوت نوعا ما.
هذه الحجارة عندما تنزل على الرجل
أي نعم.
محمي.
So every time that this stone would hit an individual from the army, they would die.
وقيل أن الحجارة تدخل من رأس الشخص وتخرج من دبره أعزك الله.
And it was said that it would enter through the head of an individual and through the front, and it would exit the back.
فقتلت كل الجيش إلا رجلا واحدا حتى رجع إلى اليمن وأخبرهم بما حصل.
And then this happened, and then the army returned, and they told the people what happened upon their return.
فجعل الله سبحانه وتعالى أبرهة وجنوده كعصف مأكول، أي كالزرع الذي هجمت عليه الماشية وأكلته ووطئته بأقدامها.
So Allah the Most High, He made Abraha and the army like a field that was of empty stalks. Like stalks where the corn had been eaten up. They were just bare, like skeletal structures of the corn.
وولد النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام في هذا العام الذي سمي عام الفيل.
And the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was born in this year, the year that was called the year of the elephant.
السورة التي بعدها سورة الهمزة.
The chapter that comes after that is the chapter of the slanderer.
وبسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ويل أي خسران وهلاك، وقيل ويل واد في جهنم.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, woe unto every slanderer and backbiter. And we've said previously that this word woe, it's also been explained as a valley in the hellfire.
ويل لكل همزة لمزة. قيل الهمز واللمز أي الوقيعة في أعراض الناس، الإشارة باليد، والهمز بالقول، واللمز بالفعل والإشارة.
And it's explained in English as slanderer and backbiter, but it's been explained in Arabic in different ways. One of those is that the first is to be deceitful and slandered by action, and the second by the tongue. And it's been explained by other than this.
هذا وصفه الهماز اللماز الذي جمع مالا وعدده، همه في هذه الدنيا أن يجمع المال والاستكثار من جمعه.
And the description of this individual, the way that they conduct themselves, is that they're the one who gathers wealth and counts it. This is how they behave in the dunya, in this worldly life.
يحسب أن ماله أخلده، أي يظن أنه إذا جمع هذا المال الكثير يستطيع أن يخلد في هذه الدنيا.
He thinks that this wealth that he's accumulated will last him forever.
وهذا غير صحيح.
And this is not correct.
وهو يظن أنه يعني ربما بأموالي إذا مرضت أتعالج بالأموال الكثيرة ولا يدركني الموت أبدا.
And they may think that through their wealth, they can use their wealth to cure themselves and keep themselves healthy so they can continue living. But this is not the case.
قال تعالى: كلا ليس الأمر كما يظن ولا كما يحسب.
Allah the Most High responds to this in the 4th verse and says, nay, i.e., this matter is not as they think.
لينبذن في الحطمة أي سيموت ويدخل جهنم. الحطمة هي نار تحطم بعضها بعضا وتأكل بعضها بعضا.
Verily, they'll be thrown into the crushing fire, and this is a fire that eats itself up. It's so hot.
ثم عظم الله من شأنها قائلا: وما أدراك ما الحطمة للتهويل.
And then Allah the Most High, He makes this the affair of this crushing fire even more serious, and He asks the question, and what will make you know what the crushing fire is?
نار الله الموقدة أي المسعرة المولعة شديدة الإيقاد شديدة الحر.
The fire of Allah kindled, i.e., it's an intense fire, a fire that's very, very hot.
أجارني الله وإياكم منها.
Ameen. May Allah save me and you from it.
وهذه النار تطلع على الأفئدة، والأفئدة هي القلوب وهي منبع الأعمال.
And indeed, this fire, it will be closed up upon their hearts. And the hearts, they are the root of action.
وقال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام: ألا وإن في الجسد مضغة، أي يعني مقدار وحجم المضغة التي تؤكل في الفم.
And the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, indeed, there is a morsel of flesh in the body.
إذا صلحت صلح الجسد كله.
If it is correct and rectified, then the entire body is rectified.
وإذا فسدت فسد الجسد كله.
And if it is ruined, then the entire body is ruined.
ألا وهي القلب، يعني المضغة هي هذا القلب الذي في جوف كل إنسان.
Indeed, this morsel of flesh is the heart.
إنها أي النار عليهم مؤصدة أي مغلقة الإحكام حتى يزداد حرها والعياذ بالله.
And indeed, it will be closed up upon them, and we seek refuge in Allah the Most High.
في عمد ممددة أي ممتد العذاب فيها فلا يخرجون منها والعياذ بالله.
In pillars stretched forth, and it will be stretched forth, and they will reside in there forever. And I kind of omitted, I omitted a verse, and it was verse 7. It was, and before it, verse 6, which I didn't admit, but the fire of Allah kindled, which leaps up over their hearts. But I translated the meaning. نعم شيخنا سبق.
بارك الله فيك. السورة التي بعدها سورة العصر.
The next chapter is the chapter of the time.
والعصر هو الزمان.
And in Arabic, asr, A-S-R, it means time.
والله سبحانه وتعالى له أن يقسم بما يشاء.
And Allah the Most High has the right to make an oath by whatever He wills.
فمرة أقسم بالعصر ومرة بالضحى ومرة بالليل ومرة بالشمس.
So sometimes by time, sometimes by the forenoon, sometimes by the sun.
والإنسان لا يجوز له أن يقسم إلا بالله وحده فقط.
However, the individual, the person, they may only make an oath by the right of Allah, the Most High, alone, and none other than He.
والعصر هو يعني الزمان والوقت الذي يتقلب فيه الليل والنهار.
And the asr, the time, is the vessel through which day and night revolve.
وهو محل أعمال العباد من خيرها وشرها.
And it's the container of the deeds of the sons of Adam, the good and the evil deeds.
ثم قال تعالى إن الإنسان أي جنس الإنسان.
And then Allah the Most High says, verily, man, i.e. the species of man, is in loss.
لفي خسر أي أنهم خاسرون.
Is in loss, so they're a complete loss.
ثم استثنى الله سبحانه وتعالى إلا من استثناهم الله وهم أربعة في هذه السورة.
And then Allah the Most High then made an exception. So they're all at loss, except for those who have been described in this chapter and having four characteristics.
الأولون هم إلا الذين آمنوا أي آمنوا بالله ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Firstly, those who believe in Allah and His Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him.
وعملوا الصالحات تقربوا إلى الله بالأعمال الصالحة.
And perform good deeds. They seek nearness to Allah the Most High through good deeds.
من الصلاة والزكاة والحج.
From Salah and Zakah and Hajj. أي شيخنا لا أسمعكم جيدا.
والكف عن أعراض الناس.
عفوا شيخنا.
نعم.
أي نعم الآن أسمعكم شيخنا.
وعملوا الصالحات أي تقربوا إلى الله بأنواع العبادات.
And they perform the righteous deeds, i.e. they seek closeness to Allah the Most High through acts of worship.
من الصلاة والزكاة والحج والعمرة.
Like prayer and charity and performing pilgrimage.
ثالثا وتواصوا بالحق أي تواصوا بدين الله وصوا بعضهم بعضا يحثون بعضهم على دين الله والاستمساك به.
Thirdly, they recommend one another to patience upon sufferings and harms, etc.
رابعا وتواصوا بالصبر.
Apologies. The third was patience upon the truth, upon the good deeds, the religion of Islam, and fourthly, patience upon encouragement upon patience.
والصبر يكون على طاعة الله أنهم يصبرون على أداء العبادات يتوضأ في الماء البارد ويخرج يصلي في الوقت البارد.
And patience is upon firstly obedience to Allah. So for example, making wudu, an ablution, when the water is cold, at times when it's cold.
ويترك النوم ويذهب للصلاة.
And waking up and leaving prayer and going for waking up from sleep, leaving sleep and going for the prayer.
ويخرج في الصيف كما عندنا هنا مثلا أو في أفريقيا يخرج في الصيف في الشمس الحارة إلى الصلاة.
Subhanallah. And also going out in the sun where it's very, very hot, like here in Saudi Arabia or in Africa, where there's a burning heat of the day.
وكذلك الدول الاسكندنافية عندما يكون النهار طويلا يصومون 20 ساعة عن الطعام في رمضان.
Subhanallah. ونحن كذلك شيخنا. أثابكم الله. And the Shaykh said and also. عفوا شيخنا.
أقول كم ساعة تصومون؟
في أثناء الصيف ممكن 18.
إيه نعم، أجركم على قدر المشقة بإذن الله، أجركم أعظم.
Athabakumullah. So the Shaykh said, and even like fasting in Scandinavian countries where they have to fast for like 19 hours a day. And then I joked and I said, and us as well in the summer. So the Shaykh asked how long our summer fast is, and I said about 18 hours. So he said, our reward is on the basis of the hardships that we face during this fasting.
والصبر عن معصية الله.
And also having patience upon disobedience to Allah the Most High.
يرى الخمر بين يديه يباع في البقالات ولا يشتريه ولا يشرب.
There are temptations like alcohol being sold in front of them, but they refrain and they have patience and they don't indulge in such things.
ولا يزني ولا يأكل الخنزير.
And they do not commit fornication, nor do they eat pork.
ويصبر عن جميع المعاصي.
And they have patience and refrain from all types of sin.
والصبر كذلك على أقدار الله المؤلمة. إن مات له عزيز فلا يتسخط على الله ويعتب الله، لماذا يا ربي يموت فلان وهو عزيز إلي.
And also patience upon the difficult things that befall the individual from the decree of Allah. So for example, if a beloved person passes away, they have patience upon this and they know it's from Allah the Most High.
وإذا مثلا صدمت سيارته لا يتسخط على الله سبحانه وتعالى، يصبر ويحتسب.
And for example, if they have an accident and their car is totaled or is written off, they have patience and they expect the reward from Allah and they do not despair in Allah.
وكذلك إذا مرض يصبر ويحتسب الأجر عند الله.
Also, if they become sick, they have patience and they expect the reward from Allah the Most High.
ويكون بذلك ناجيا وفائزا بإذن الله تعالى.
And they would be with this, by the will of Allah, successful if they do these things.
انتهى الوقت؟
أي نعم شيخنا انتهى.
طيب خير إن شاء الله، نكتفي بهذا وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم.
أثابكم الله وبارك فيكم شيخنا، درس ماتع جدا والحمد لله كأننا أكملنا القصار.
لا باقي يمكن 3 سور خلاص، يعني إذا أحببتم نكملها الدرس القادم ولا نبدأ في ما حسب الجدول كما تحبون، نتناقش في ذلك إن شاء الله.
إن شاء الله يكون بيننا اتصال. So here we end, and our Shaykh sent peace and salutations upon the Prophet Muhammad, upon his family and companions. And now there are a couple of chapters to go that remain in the explanation of the short chapters. So we will take a view on this. So we'll speak with the Shaykh and we'll speak with Abdul Hakim, the management, and we see whether we simply carry on with the timetable of lessons or we make an adjustment to the lessons so that we complete the whole curriculum. So we ask Allah the Most High to reward abundantly our Shaykh for giving us such a great education, such a great series of lessons, and may he accept from our Shaykh and open up for him, and also from the management of Islam for Deaf. And we ask Allah the Most High to guide and shower his blessings upon Tom, and to accept from all of us. And we look forward to seeing you next week for another evening of lectures. And again, we give thanks to our Shaykh, and may peace and salutations be showered upon the Prophet Muhammad, and may peace and blessings be upon you too. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله.